Timothy Treadwell watched his torn-off arm while the
Most painful death.
enraged grizzly sank its teeth into him. Screams of his girlfriend, Huguenard, echoed in his head. Both became victims of a merciless predator, devouring them alive. Slow death is the scariest thing imaginable, but on the pain scale, crafted from scientific studies, being eaten alive only rates 100 points. Meanwhile, the most horrifying death is estimated at 140. Stick around until the end to find out what hits that maximum mark. But I warn you, viewer discretion is advised. On October 11th, 2012, workers at a seafood processing plant in Santa Fe Springs sounded the alarm. Their colleague, 62-year-old Jose Molina, had vanished suddenly. After nearly 90 minutes of searching, the boiler operator suggested opening the last loaded oven. Inside, they cooked and sterilized tuna at high temperatures. Workers had to wait half an hour for the oven to cool down. All this time, their only thought was, I hope Jose isn't in there. Unfortunately, he was indeed there. When the workers opened the door, they were horrified to find him inside. As it turned out, Molina was loading pallets of canned tuna into the oven when he noticed a malfunction. Without warning anyone, he stepped into the oven to adjust the chain inside. Meanwhile, another worker, not seeing Jose in place, assumed he had already left. So, he closed and turned on the oven. It was loaded with nearly 5,500 kilograms of canned tuna, which began to cook at a temperature of 132 degrees Celsius. Trapped, Jose likely suffered severe skin burns, and then the high temperature began to affect his muscles and organs. Eventually, the poor man was boiled alive. Looking at the pain scale, where, for example, 2 points are attributed to a gunshot to the head and 91 to a shark bite, while dying from being literally boiled alive hits a staggering 105 points. And unfortunately, such incidents in production happen quite often. In 2009, Vincent Smith II worked at an illegal chocolate factory, Cocoa Service, in Camden, New Jersey. The 29-year-old worker was dumping giant chunks of chocolate over the edge of a vat, nearly 2.5 meters deep. There, chocolate was melted and mixed. Suddenly, Vincent was struck by a mixer paddle and fell right into the hot molten mass, reaching a temperature of 120 degrees Celsius. His colleagues immediately rushed to shut down the machine. However, Vincent stayed in the chocolate for a full 10 minutes before rescuers could pull him out. Even though his body was mangled by the giant mixer, Vincent died from burns. The tragedy occurred because the platform he fell from was slippery from splattered chocolate and was directly above the vat without any barriers to protect workers from falling into the boiling mixture. Nevertheless, you don't have to be at a dangerous facility to experience excruciating pain, which on the scale goes even beyond 105 points. On November 23, 2018, a 911 dispatcher heard the shaky voice of a 76-year-old woman. It was Loretta Picard from Polk County, Florida.
I think my house is on fire, and I'm here alone, and I'm on a walker.
Firefighters were immediately dispatched to her house. The dispatcher told the woman to leave the building and go outside, to which she replied,
Couldn't, honey, yes, I wanted to.
That nervous laugh at the end just breaks your heart. Loretta had recently undergone surgery and couldn't move quickly without assistance. Plus, she couldn't see anything through the smoke. Meanwhile, the fire truck slowly made its way down the rough country road where the woman lived. Loretta was freaking out, worried that nobody would save her, constantly asking if help was really on the way and if they were sure they were coming for her. Then, on the recording, you could hear Loretta start coughing and wheezing, and the sound of the crackling fire in the background getting louder. But I can't show you what the recording captured next, because then the flames engulfed the woman, who never got the help she desperately needed. She screamed wildly as she burned alive. The link to the full recording I'll leave in the description below. Loretta was dying while firefighters were just minutes away from her yard. The phone call cut out after 20 minutes, and rescuers arrived at the scene 14 minutes later. Yet nobody ever went inside to save her. The fire chief claimed that several firefighters attempted to enter the house, but no evidence supports his words, and the dispatcher was blamed for giving ineffective instructions. Due to the negligence of rescuers, Loretta died in agony because the pain from burning alive hits a staggering 108 points. You wouldn't wish such a death on anyone, But you know what? I came across a story where a person knowingly subjected themselves to such suffering. On June 11, 1963, several American correspondents, including Malcolm Brown, gathered outside the Cambodian embassy in Saigon. The day before, journalists were informed that something important would happen there. Buddhists were deeply offended by the disrespect of their beliefs by the South Vietnamese government. So, around 350 monks and nuns gathered for another peaceful protest. Suddenly, not far from the presidential palace, a car stopped and 3 monks got out, including Quang Duc. Malcolm pointed his camera at the trio, not realizing what he would witness through the lens next. Protesters gathered around Quang, who sat on a pillow in the traditional Buddhist meditative lotus pose, while another monk started pouring gasoline over his head. Quang paid no attention and prayed, and when he finished, he struck a match. The flames instantly engulfed him, rising up in black smoke. It was a horrifying spectacle. Quang Duc's body slowly withering and shriveling, while his head blackened and charred.
Wow.
I can't show you the photo either, but I'll leave a link below the video. The scene was very contrasting, as everyone present there loudly cried, watching the self-immolation, while the monk himself, enduring painful suffering, didn't even flinch or make a sound. Whether it was meditation skills or inner spiritual strength that helped the monk endure the agony of his impending death, I know for sure an ordinary person wouldn't last like that, let alone endure the pain that hits 110 points, 140 points. Even if you find yourself in the mouth of a volcano or in the heart of a nuclear reactor. So, the most painful sensation in the world is skinning. This refers to a specific torture. Before it, the skin was softened using sunburns or hot water. Then, the torturer made incisions starting from the least sensitive parts of the body and ending with the delicate skin of the face. The process was designed to keep the victims alive as long as possible, maximizing pain. Eventually, death could occur from blood loss, shock, or infections. But such a method of punishment has existed for quite some time, since the times of the ancient Assyrians, and up to medieval Europe.
Skinning.
Nowadays, they don't do it anymore. At least, it's definitely prohibited by law. Write in the comments what caused you the most pain, and subscribe to my channel if you have nerves of steel.
Okay, buddy. Interesting video.